So, what do you want to talk about? But what I'm interested in is, can you tell me what's the best way to completely plummet a prospect's value? Does anybody out there know? Anybody out there? Say you can't play shortstop. Oh, that's a good one. Say you can't play center field. No. Almost, no. Commit to having a starting pitching prospect. Pitch in the bullpen. There is not a better way you could drive down a prospect's value, in my opinion, than to publicly go out and say that a guy's going to be in the bullpen. Now, I'm still waiting on some more details because I don't believe, it's hard for me to believe that Brusdar Graterol is going out the door and Kenta Maeda is the only guy coming back. Now, I mean, that's not to say, that would be a complete garbage trade. I would certainly be disappointed in it. However, if we want to talk about competitive cycles and the Twins being in a win-now mode, it is more likely that Kenta Maeda would provide more value to the 2020 Twins than Brusdar Graterol. So some of the numbers you have to look at with Maeda, you have to keep in mind, how friendly of a pitching environment Dodger Stadium is. If we look at ERA minus, which is adjusted to both league and parks, Kenta Maeda had a 96 ERA minus. League average is 100. Michael Pineda was at 86. Jose Barrios was at 79. Jake Odorizzi was at 75. So Kenta and Homer Bailey was at 99 last year. So Bailey was at 99. Kenta Maeda was at 96. Now, there's always, the question of, is there more there? Can they get more out of them? The Twins are kind of developing that reputation of being that kind of an organization. However, why can't you just do that with Brusdar Graterol? This is a franchise that's had so much trouble developing starting pitching. If you missed my YouTube video, I was already pretty annoyed that Graterol was being moved to the bullpen, and kind of was hoping that he was being moved to the bullpen, but not a specific, short relief, single inning relief role. That maybe, okay, well, let's get him in the major leagues. Let's get him accustomed to facing major league hitting and moving him forward. And then with the future, hopefully transitioning him back into the rotation eventually. Now, they didn't really get into details on that, and now we'll never know, apparently, what the Twins' plan was going to be with Graterol. He had the fastball. And that wasn't just a straight 100 plus. That he had great arm side action on that pitch. He had a great slider. I think his changeup it's not like his changeup was unusable, in my opinion. And again, this is a guy who just hasn't really pitched a lot. That's sort of the other side of the coin here also with Graterol. I co-wrote the Twins Prospect Handbook, so I'm a prospect guy. I understand if there's people who don't give a crap about the minor league system, don't know anything about the minor league system, are probably like, whatever, Graterol, he's only going to be a reliever. Get the asset that you're more familiar with, that's more proven, more of a track record. But, Graterol was looking good out of the bullpen. It would have been really interesting to see how he developed if they gave him another shot as a starting pitcher. It was going to be a long road, I understand that. As it stood on opening day, Homer Bailey was projected to be the number 3 starter. Now, with Pineda's suspension coming back, with Rich Hill's health, that discussion changes as the season progresses. But Rich Hill's 40. You never know how that rehab is going to go. Apparently, he was going to be throwing soon, so that's a good sign. But, Kenta Maeda, another thing, too, is I think it's sometimes gets a little lost in the shuffle on some of the international guys, because we don't see them come up through a regular trajectory. But he's going to be 32 soon, so it's not like he's over the hill or anything. And he's been relatively healthy. I mean, we're having a conversation with him and Brusdar Graterol, so I can't. Once Brusdar Graterol's name's in the mix, health becomes a bit of a different gauge that you're comparing people to. But the past 4 seasons, Maeda's thrown 175, 134, 125, and 153 are his innings totals. I think the Dodgers have had such great rotation depth that they've been able to play it a lot safer, a lot more conservative with guys like Maeda and Rich Hill. They haven't pushed at Wood too. They haven't pushed those guys back to return quicker because they've had such great rotation depth. So take kind of those numbers with a grain of salt. Yeah, that's the tough thing with Maeda is a lot of his surface stats look good, but you have to keep in mind that how much of a good pitching environment Dodger Stadium is and pitching in the National League is, and how much different it might be for him in the AL pitching at Target Field compared to that environment. So that's why I brought up that ERA minus stat. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a Kenta Maeda expert. I've seen him pitch a number of times, but haven't really thought about him as in-depth as I would, somebody as Brusdar Graterol, just to be honest. I was under the assumption, and we'll still kind of wait and see before this is official, that at the very least the Twins were going to be adding a prospect in this deal. Now, I don't know that would move the needle much for most people, but you're shipping off one of your better prospects. It would have been nice to get somebody back in the system. And, I guess my biggest frustration is, you look at the Major League club, stacked lineup, stacked. Bench is packed solid, even. You look at the minor league system, tons of hitting depth, tons and tons and tons. Your top guys, Lewis, Kirilloff, Larnach, even like Matt Wallner, who was drafted last year coming in, adding something there. There's still guys like Brent Rooker who could contribute. Luke Raley. There are just layers upon layers upon layers of those guys. But, to be honest, I would have rather packaged a couple of the bats in the minor league system and to get Maeda than Graterol. Like I said, this is an organization. I mean, I'm, preaching to the choir here, I'm sure. If this is mostly Twins fans watching, as I assume it is, the Twins have had such a difficult time developing starting pitching, and it's not like, it's not like that's abnormal. Most teams really have a hard time with that. But for the Twins to take this guy, velocity's been the thing that they've been trying to get for so long, and then you have this guy coming up. He legit threw 104 in Double A. I don't know how hot that gun is, but it happened. And I mean, we saw him hit triple digits a bunch with the Twins at Major League ballparks. So they finally get this guy who throws 100, and they're like, "Yeah, let's get Kenta Maeda for him." But it is fair to point out that Graterol's injury history is very extensive. He was no sure thing. He looked good at the end of last year facing major league hitters, and that was as a guy who had very little opportunity to face advanced pitching. If I remember correctly, he only threw about 50 innings at Double A before getting hurt this year, and then transitioning to the bullpen. Oh, by the way, he kicked ass in those starts too. I think his ERA was under 2 as a starter in Double A with such little experience. So, I don't know. I guess that's the trade. If you are in the hey, let's try and win the World Series in 2020 crowd, I think this helps. I think if you are hey, let's build, let's keep assets, let's build, let's try to, let's look at potentially this Lewis, Kirilloff, Larnach, Graterol, Duran, Balazovic as another potential World Series core that's going to come up with Polanco, Kepler, Sano. All these guys are going to be around still. Barrios, when those guys first come up. And that's kind of how I felt. Like, that we have multiple waves of really good Twins teams we're looking at. That said, I was still okay with if the Twins were going to make a trade to improve the 2020 ball club. I just, initial knee-jerk reaction is not happy with that trade, to be honest. Again, kind of got to consider where it's coming from. I'm a prospects guy. And we'll see, it's entirely, I'm not going to pretend like I'm no more than, Wes Johnson or Derek Falvey, certainly, about Kenta Maeda. There could be some things that they've identified with him where they think they can help him continue to be as successful as he has with the Dodgers, pitching in the AL, pitching for the Twins, maybe even take him up another notch. I don't know. But, a lot of the talk, and I know I've heard Matt Braun say this the most from Twins Daily, a lot of the talk this off-season and return to the rotation is, well, they at least need to get somebody better than Odorizzi. You know, if it can be Jose Barrios, a number 2, then Odorizzi, Pineda, etc., that's pretty good. I don't know that I feel that Kenta Maeda is that guy. So that's where I'm coming from. And to give up Brusdar Graterol, that being the case, I don't love it. That's about as positive as a reaction to that trade as you're going to get from me. I don't love it. I don't hate the idea to make a go for it in 2020 trade or transaction. You know, that was signing Josh Donaldson was a go for it in 2020 move. You didn't give Josh Donaldson a 4-year contract because you thought that was a good idea. You know, you gave Josh Donaldson a 4-year contract because you wanted to go for it in 2020. I'm okay with that. If you want to make a go for it in 2020 move and even trade Brusdar Graterol, I could probably get behind that. But to be getting Kenta Maeda back, I don't know. This has just got a lot of disaster potential. Moving Graterol to the bullpen was going to be a go for it in 2020 move in the first place. So I guess they figured, hey, if we're already going to kind of do that and hedge our bets, might as well get a proven major leaguer, a guy who we know can make starts in return. Brusdar Graterol, in my mind, is still a starting pitcher. The development plan was going to get stretched out for him. To get him to that point, he wasn't going to be a starting pitcher for all of 2020. You're going to have to either start him in extended spring training or end his season early. But it's a long game. You know, this kid's 21 years old or whatever. You have a lot of time to develop him. You didn't have to push him into the bullpen in 2020. It's weird. I don't know. You know, maybe the Twins have identified some things with Graterol that they see as big red flags. Obviously, the health concerns are impossible to look beyond. Even as somebody who thinks he could have developed into a starter. That's the thing to remember, too. This kid's like a baby, you know. He doesn't even have his man muscles yet. He looks like he does. I mean, but his body is still physically developing. So maybe those injuries at some point, you know, 3 years from now, that could be all a thing of the past. But that's it cuts both ways, that unknown. There's that appeal of the unknown that Boston Red Sox fans are thinking right now of like, ooh, Brusdar Graterol throws 100, you know. They're having fun thinking of that. Although, you know, losing bets is a kick to the nuts, you know. David Ortiz 2.0. Graterol going to Boston. Maybe they'll start calling him, you know, Hundo Poppy or something. I don't know. This has been Tom Froming from Twins Daily and the Prospect Handbook, which is available. That guy right there, Brusdar Graterol, is on the cover. You know, grab it while you can, as he's this is a piece of memorabilia now. You know, this is like limited special edition. But check out Twins Daily. Seth is writing up the initial reaction to this trade and just kind of relaying info. Obviously, our community is going to have a ton of comments there, so join in the conversation over at Twins Daily. There's already 50 comments on that article, so go check that out. There's going to be tons more. Tons and tons and tons more Maeda and Graterol information coming out at Twins Daily. So follow all of our writers. Go check out the site. Again, 50 comments already. Go check it out.